On today's Andy Ari on 3 presented by BetMGM, it is a Megaboard Wednesday. We are all over the On 3 message boards, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We start with a ticking clock in a conference basketball tournament. A conference says to a school that's leaving the conference, you owe $1 million or we won't let your teams play. The situation has been resolved, we think. Did the $1 million arrive? We'll talk about it. Plus, Nebraska players are going to challenge the organization that is supposed to police NIL payments in the new world. They're going to arbitration, baby. And if that doesn't work, it might be going to court. This is a big, big case in terms of player pay. It's not an accident that it's happening in Nebraska. Also, Ohio State has made Matt Patricia the highest paid assistant in college football. Ari and I will talk about the job the former Patriots DC and Lions head coach has done in Columbus so far. Plus, is Sherrone Moore's former assistant prepping for a lawsuit? We'll talk about it all on today's Andy Ari on 3 presented by BetMGM. This show is presented by BetMGM, and there's no better place to be during March matchups than Las Vegas. This year, college basketball fans can win a VIP trip to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins. Simply place sports bets, and your position on the leaderboard will determine if you win one of the 25 grand prize packages. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promotion, and start placing sports bets of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. Make this March one to remember. Join the Court of Legends leaderboard and make it legendary with BetMGM. If you haven't already signed up, download that app. Use the bonus code CFB, that's CFB as in college football, and start wagering with BetMGM, and you can get involved in that sweepstakes. Also, if you're already a member at BetMGM, we got a college basketball odds boost token for conference tourney week. Use that token, add a college basketball wager to your bet, and activate the token. If your wager was made with that token, you will receive extra winnings in unrestricted bonus dollars. So use that college basketball boost token as you watch those conference tournament games this week. Make it even more legendary with BetMGM. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Welcome to Andy Ari on 3 presented by BetMGM. And Ari, we had a good old-fashioned caper. We had a good old-fashioned deadline. We had a good old-fashioned, basically we had an excuse to send out a lot of Dr. Evil memes. $1 million. If you were not around on Tuesday afternoon on social media, you missed maybe the funniest tweet that a conference office has ever sent out. Not intentionally funny, but did it ever launch some memes? So while everybody else was worried about what was to come on a fairly big news day with the Max Crosby trade being rescinded, which we know now is so they could sign Trey Hendrickson, and then Bam Adebayo scoring 81 points. The
83 points. Show some respect.
83 points. I'm sorry. Kobe scored 81. Yes. Bam scored 83. And Bam's team won. The WAC sent this out as your appetizer on Tuesday afternoon. So the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference, you remember used to be an FBS football conference, is not anymore. So this came out from the WAC at 2:32 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. Now, remember, we're talking about Utah time because we're dealing with Utah Valley University here. But basically, Utah Valley is a team that is leaving the WAC, a school that is leaving the WAC. They're going to go to the Big West Conference. The WAC says you haven't paid your exit fee. Therefore, if you don't put $1 million in escrow to represent the exit fee in this court case that we are fighting over, we will not let your team, which is the number 1 seed in the WAC tournament, play in the WAC tournament. This is what the WAC wrote. As of this time, Utah Valley University has not complied with the Utah judge's order that directs Utah Valley University to place $1 million in escrow with the court, the amount of their agreed upon exit fee from the Western Athletic Conference. As the court-ordered preliminary injunction is contingent upon that directive, the WAC Board of Directors has instructed the commissioner to plan for the men's and women's WAC basketball tournaments without Utah Valley University, as it would not be a member in good standing. The conference will release new brackets if the university does not comply with the court's directive within the order by 5 p.m. Mountain Time on Tuesday, March 10th. The conference regrets that the intentional actions of Utah Valley University have caused uncertainty and harm for the institution's student athletes, coaches, staff, and fans across the WAC, including at Utah Valley University. Now, that is the WAC's portion. And the WAC is Dr. Evil in this case. They are Dr. Evil. $1 million. And is Ari, like, I'm just imagining this movie, like, somebody running through Salt Lake City with a briefcase. Like, I wanted this to be because the news later in the day. So when they put this out, remember, it was at 2:30 Eastern time. So basically, they had 4.5 hours to comply. So 5 p.m. Mountain Time would be 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So 4.5 hours. So the clock is ticking. Like, I wanted to see the guy running with the briefcase and the clock at the bottom of the screen. I want, and then the next piece of the news was they're going to pay the money, but they're waiting for instructions from the court on how to pay. And I'm just imagining, like, you go to this park bench in Salt Lake City, you leave the briefcase by the trash can, and you walk away. No cops. No cops.
So did the university end up paying the money?
As we record this on Wednesday morning, not yet.
But they are in process of paying.
They've said they've agreed to it, and they're awaiting the court's instructions. The court was closed at 5 p.m., and so they didn't get the final instructions on how to do it. Now, there's more to this. There's more to it. But I just love that we have a conference playing Dr. Evil here.
It's great.
I need the government, or I need the Utah, like, we need the scene. If Utah Valley, by the way, this is a very acrimonious fight between Utah Valley. Like, you probably don't care about the fight itself, but just know everybody hates everybody on this thing. And if Utah Valley had a sense of humor about this, which they should, because they actually probably aren't going to end up having to pay anything if all goes well for them. But if Utah Valley had a sense of humor about this, they would have taken that Austin Powers scene where Dr. Evil asks for $1 million and everyone just laughs at him. They would have tweeted that out in response to the WAC.
Well, Dr. Evil was a terrorist.
Yes.
And if the WAC,
Utah Valley would characterize the WAC right now.
But if the WAC was entitled to money that wasn't paid.
Well, the Utah Valley is arguing they're not entitled to it. Like, yeah, they're playing in this tournament, but because of, hey, a word we've heard a lot on this show in the last month, an injunction.
Preliminary injunction. Yeah. I mean, I was like giggling during your preview of the show today. You're like, as conference basketball tournaments have really kicking off on Wednesday, like, we are talking a lot about court, but not basketball courts.
No. But like, this would have been the best caper, though. Like, if you're Utah Valley, you got to have some fun with this. You gotta have somebody just running around, because the court, I believe the court is in Salt Lake. So you got to have somebody run around.
Pennies, get it in pennies, and deliver it in pennies.
Yes, just pushing when you go to Sam's Club or Costco or Home Depot and they've got the flatbed cart
Yeah.
Or when you buy something really big.
Yes.
Like a flatbed cart of $1 million, and I think $1 million in pennies probably fills up a few of those.
I think $1 million in pennies probably doesn't even fit in like a U-Haul.
They're not even making pennies anymore, so I don't know if that exists. But so little backstory here: the WAC is suing Utah Valley in Texas, saying they haven't paid their exit fee. They owe us this exit fee. Utah Valley is countersuing the WAC in Utah, saying, one, we made a deal with the WAC in Colorado, so Texas law has nothing to do with this. But two, the WAC bait and switched us. This is Utah Valley's interpretation of things, because the Texas schools in the WAC, they wanted to merge with the Atlantic Sun or make a deal with the Atlantic Sun, because the WAC was about to fold basically 2 years ago. They were down by members because of realignment. And so Utah Valley signed this commitment pledge. And in return for signing the commitment pledge, they were supposed to get a reduced exit fee if they left. Apparently, the Atlantic Sun, as part of this merger, didn't really want any of the Utah schools, Utah Valley and Utah Tech in Southern Utah. And so Utah Valley thought they were going to get a reduced or no exit fee. And then apparently the commitment agreement was then nixed at some point by the conference last year. And they're like, oh no, by the way, you still owe this, but you're still leaving, right? You're still, okay, you're leaving, right? But yeah, you owe this. So that's the fight. And like when they said $1 million, it's not to pay $1 million that they definitely owe. That is still up for debate. That's why they would put it in an escrow account with the court. But the other part of this is Utah Valley does not have to pay this. And the WAC probably knew this. So Bryce Larson is an ESPN radio host in Utah. He's been following this case. He's been in all the hearings. He explained that the judge said when she issued this order that she could not actually order Utah Valley to pay the money, because it's against the law in the state of Utah for a court to order a state entity to pay a security. This is essentially a security of the court. So it's actually illegal to order that. So that's why the judge very clearly wrote, this is a directive, not an order. And so if Utah Valley wanted to be like, we're not paying it, they could.
So the arrangement of the payment has been made, but the payment itself probably will never be made.
Yeah, I mean, they can put the money in escrow. They can always put it in escrow. That doesn't mean that they...
But if you put it in escrow, you can still retain the money eventually. If you win the case. Like the money won't cross hands.
Right, yeah. If you win the case, you would keep the money anyway.
Yeah.
So they may put the money in, they may not, but they don't have to. And it doesn't matter because the WAC relented when they said, yeah, we'll put the money in there. The WAC said, okay, brackets are staying, they can play. So Utah Valley does not play. Remember, they're the 1 seed in the WAC tournament. They do not play until Friday. They have a bye until Friday. So just another little bit of spice for conference tournament week.
Yeah.
Like everybody who was going to be watching that, which is not a lot now, I may turn it on.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Yeah. I've always wanted to get paid in a briefcase.
I mean, you have to do that, right? Like,
they even make briefcases anymore?
I think you can buy. Yeah, you definitely buy a briefcase on Amazon. Like, if you're Utah Valley, you have to have at least taken the $1 million out in cash. I mean, wire transfers are boring. Take the $1 million out in cash, put it in a briefcase. Get some social media clips out of this thing, if nothing else. And just like if I were their AD, I'd be sitting there like working the clips on the briefcase. You know, that when they open up and open it, and you got the cash. Or you could do the thing where you know, in the movies where it's a real bill on top of every stack, and then it's just paper.
I'm looking at briefcases online, Andy, and they're not like they used to be. No, they're all like, they're not hard shelled briefcases. They're all like,
somebody on eBay has to have that though. Like, cause you do have to do this.
Because back in the day when you used to graduate college, like that was like a really appropriate gift that every man got, right? Like,
yeah,
a nice leather hardback, like shelled briefcase that you can carry all your documents in. And now I think in 2026, that's no longer something that works because it doesn't fit laptops and stuff. But it still could hold crisp $100 bills that are all wrapped up
Stacks.
into $1 million. Yeah, like that movie Blank Check, for instance.
Yes,
you remember that
exactly,
movie, right?
like that movie Blank Check, or like that movie Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
The 90s were the best time of life. I miss them every day.
So, listen, there was conference basketball tournament actual action yesterday. Montana upset Portland State in the Big Sky, so that's a 1 seed out. Portland State is out. They will not go dancing. Montana's going to play Idaho today for the Big Sky title. Furman and Troy punch their tickets to the dance. It's fun. Kentucky playing today, Wednesday, in the SEC tournament. First time ever, I think, playing on Wednesday in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, things aren't going great in Lexington, are they? But, hey, we're a 6.5 point favorite.
Go on a run. You can, yes. And check your BetMGM app because you've got a lot going on. By the way, AJ DeBonsa at BYU, 40 points, dropped 40 on zombie Kansas State last night in the Big 12 tournament on the giant iPad of court. This is fun. I love this week because you can just pretty much anytime after noon on a weekday, you've got basketball tournament play going on.
I watched part of the Arizona State Baylor Big 12 game yesterday, and I gotta say that court is freaking awesome. Every single time, have you watched a game on the court yet?
Oh yeah.
So every time
players don't like it though.
Ball, like shattered glass, like shows up inside the key. Like it's like badass. Yeah. You wouldn't like that.
The players playing on it because they're playing on a giant iPad and they say it's slippery.
Is it? Oh, okay. I was wondering what it would be like to bounce a ball or what it's like for traction on the shoe, but from a visual standpoint, watching it on television, I thought
tremendous.
It was badass. Yeah,
tremendous. No, this is going to be fun. I'm scrolling the BetMGM app right now. There are so many games today, so many stakes. But yeah, the Big Sky tournament is fascinating. Idaho, Montana, by the way, in case you're wondering, the Vandals are a 2.5 point favorite over the Grizzlies in that one. So, but the WAC tournament does begin today because they're a 7-team league, so they have a number 7 versus number 6 game today. But Utah Valley, what T-shirts should they wear under their jerseys or over their, like in the warm-ups? Like should they have $1 million T-shirts?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like there's a communist pun on the WAC.
It's in Vegas.
Yeah, maybe a betting slip. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if not a betting slip. I feel like that might draw scrutiny. But yeah, just maybe the case number. Like put the case number on the back of the T-shirt.
It would be kind of funny if there was a betting slip that paid $1 million for them winning the WAC tournament. The only way you get paid is if we win this thing.
I don't know. Like, I guess their biggest booster can do that. That's probably the only way that works. But yes, I am all for any creative means they can do to resolve this.
It is a social media, especially because these are smaller conferences and schools. Like, if there's any way to draw brand awareness, like there's an opportunity on social media.
I'm guessing they're not going to have any fun with this because they are embroiled in a legal dispute with the conference. Yeah. But have fun with it, for God's sake.
We can dream.
I read your lawsuit. I feel like you got a shot. So I think if you can poke fun of them.
There have been a lot of really funny social media moments this week. Did you see that TMZ posted a story about Donna Kelsey renovating her home? And how everybody
and the internet ran with it
about like, why is this a story? And like people are doing like George Bush getting told like 9/11 happening, saying Donna Kelsey has chosen a different interior designer. She's going with French doors now. And it's like so funny. Like when something stupid happens online and then people just latch onto it, like it is really a gift that keeps on giving. And I think there's an opportunity here if people wanted to get creative.
Well, this is like an only in college sports thing. There's never going to be a situation where the NBA is about to start the playoffs and the Grizzlies can't play unless they make a $1 million payment.
A truly dysfunctional entity. And I'm really here for it, Andy. And I hope it's always dysfunctional. Yeah.
Please don't fix everything.
Yeah.
Because then we'd never have this.
The good news is that they can't. So like that,
yes.
I don't care what fantasies we're all under and talking about like here, these headlines that are here's how we fix college football.
Yeah.
I don't have to click on it to know you're wrong. You can't fix it, and fixing it too much actually ruins it. So
fixing it would break it. Yeah. Ari, Utah Valley, of course, is trying to play its way into the NCAA tournament. The goal in the NCAA tournament is to get to the Final Four in Indianapolis. You've got to earn your way there, but we're already going there. We will be in Indianapolis April 4th with Culver's. Remember, we were with them with the draft last year. Now we're going to be in Indianapolis April 4th, the day of the national semifinals, with Culver's in downtown Indy, live at the Culver's Game Day Hub, capturing the energy, flavor, and hometown pride that make Indianapolis come alive on game day. They're bringing you the best moments from a day filled with games, fans, and plenty of fresh frozen custard. Also, if you're not in Indy, you can still get in on the action. You can enter the Culver's Swish Dish sweepstakes now through April 5th for your shot at $2,500. But if you're in Indy, if your team makes it, or you just love big events in a great big event city, come by on April 4th. We'll be in downtown Indy with Culver's. There will be frozen custard. Man, I still dream about those Butterburgers that we had at the draft, where they basically were like, here's a sampling of the Culver's menu.
Yeah,
please,
I think about that a lot.
Go crazy.
I am so happy that we're with them because they are legitimately in the top tier, if not number one.
S tier, yes.
In fast food menus, and not just the diversity of the menu, but how good everything is. It is so good. Like you can get a burger, you can get a fish sandwich. They've got
Ari loves the fish sandwich. I'm
a big fish guy. Like, I
have a photo of you with one of their fish sandwiches, just grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah, it was happier than I was on my wedding day. It was great. But it is a pleasure to be with Culver's, and Indianapolis itself is, I would probably say, maybe the best big event city in America in terms of the way that the downtown is set up and everything. Everything's walkable. It's perfect. It's the perfect basketball city. And it's going to be an awesome opportunity to be out there. And hopefully we'll meet a lot of you guys.
The teams have to earn their way there, but you can just come join us with Culver. So mark your calendars for April 4th. Ari, let us head to the Megaboard, On3's Megaboard. And actually, there are Megaboard threads about the Utah Valley thing all over, and everybody has opinions. But yes, everyone also has Austin Powers memes. Another interesting topic from the Megaboard. We go to Husker Online, the Red Sea Scrolls. And our friend Ross Dellinger from Yahoo put this out. And so Husker Blood Red saw this story and immediately went to the message boards with it. So a group of 18 Nebraska football players has retained counsel and poses the first serious challenge to the College Sports Commission's NIL Go Clearinghouse over rejected NIL deals, sources tell Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports. So basically, what happens when you do these NIL deals? So there's rev share, which comes from the school. The school can do up to, it was $20.5 million last year. It's going to be about $22.5 million this year. So they can spend up to that on athletes, pay them directly. Anything beyond that cap has to be an NIL deal that has to be cleared by the College Sports Commission, which was created by the conferences in the wake of the House versus the NCAA settlement. So what this is they say this is a legitimate deal, or this is just you trying to funnel money to this player. And most of the deals have been approved. Some have not. Nobody has taken a case to arbitration yet because they can't, part of the deal, if you're a player who agrees to take the money, is you can't sue over this. You have to agree to arbitration. And so nobody's gone to arbitration yet, but these guys are going to go to arbitration. They hired a firm called Hush Blackwell, which is a big, expensive, lots of money per hour firm. This is not accidental that this is the first one, Ari. This is not an accident at all that it's in Nebraska.
This was always going to happen. Okay.
Yes.
This was always going to happen. And I think that when the system got set up, we were all kind of like, well, that sounds all well and good, but the second you start challenging people's income that aren't collectively bargained, like you're going to run into some heat. So I'm very interested to see how this all plays out, but I think I kind of know the direction it's headed in. Don't you?
Well, that's the thing. The question is, does the arbitrator just say, no, you guys, it's fine, you can keep the money? Or do they nix the deals? Because the next step, if the arbitrator nixes the deals and says they can't keep the money, if they keep the money, they're ineligible. That's the way the thing is written. If that were to happen, and this is why I told you, Nebraska is not an accident. It's not, they didn't choose this by accident. What did I say when all of this started, Ari? If it's challenged, it will be in a state where there's one school that dominates the whole state, where the state attorney general will jump in immediately to the player's defense at the school. So it was going to be Tennessee, it was going to be Nebraska, it was going to be Louisiana, or it was going to be Ohio. And guess what? It's Nebraska.
Yeah. If they push it through and say you can keep the money, which is what I'm assuming will probably be the result of this, it kind of defeats the purpose of the entire system even existing. Like if the system exists, and maybe not in this specific case, but if the system exists, it also has to successfully nix deals that aren't appropriate.
Correct.
Now, the question is, if they nix the deals and they make people ineligible for taking this money, they will be sued into oblivion for impeding on their ability to earn income.
Right. The state attorney general will jump in and say, how dare you affect the ability of people in my state to make money? You have, yeah.
And they will assuredly lose.
They will lose because you can't, like, you're going to say, well, but that's not market value. Market value is whatever someone is willing to pay you for something.
If somebody wants to come in here and give me $1 million for this Trayvon Diggs card that I'm holding up that's worth $1, I am more within my right to sell them that for that much money. And there's nothing that anybody on earth can do to stop me from doing that.
Yes. So the deal is they don't want you circumventing, quote unquote, circumventing the cap. But everyone knows the cap isn't real. That's why you see these schools doing $40 million player budgets for a football team, because they know the cap isn't enforceable. And oh, by the way, there's been a situation with this thing where the CSC has sent this, basically a membership agreement to all the power conference schools to sign. They haven't all signed it. The state attorney general in Texas told his schools, don't sign this. Meanwhile, other states have told their schools the same thing, because it says you can't sue. Like, you are agreeing to not sue. And the school's not going to waive its right to sue. So the other piece of this is Nebraska just signed a deal with a company called Playfly. And I realize we're probably getting in the weeds for a lot of you guys, but this is how this stuff works. So Playfly is what's called an MMR company, a multimedia rights company. And schools have deals with these companies. Playfly is a big one. Learfield's the biggest one. And basically what these people do is they agree to pay the school a fee, and then they go find deals using the school's names and marks. Well, since RevShare started, they've altered the way they do business with these companies. And these companies are now funneling deals to the players. They're finding deals for the players. And you're not supposed to be able to guarantee any NIL money above the cap, but they basically are. You know, Ross Ellinger had a copy of a proposal that LSU gave to Brendan Sorsby that included money that was above the RevShare cap. So the schools are all involved with this. Two of the biggest companies, Playfly and Learfield, that work with schools are involved in this. It's very much a too big to fail situation. So they're not going to be able to enforce this or regulate this.
There's no cap and there's no enforcing NIL, period.
No.
I'm sorry. I remember when they first, because I remember there was like a bunch of suits that came out and were super excited about, like, we finally have a clearinghouse and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I remember we were all laughing. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I had a conversation with an AD about it. Yeah, I had a conversation with an AD about it about a year ago, before all this stuff. It officially started July 1st. And the AD had heard something that we had said on the show with Steve Wiltfong. And basically it was, hey, nobody who works in the business is actually looking at this thing as real cap. They don't expect anybody to actually enforce this. And this person's like, that's not true. I'm like, it is true. We talk to these people. And then we proceed to argue about whether it's going to work or not. And I said, this is what's going to happen. If they can either just let everything pass through, which would be the smart thing, or they can try to stop it. And the second they deny someone money and say, you've got to either be ineligible or not take this money, if it's the wrong school, the state attorney general is going to nail their ass to the wall. And that is what is going to happen here.
What do you think it was? Do you think it was just like wishful thinking or like hopeful thinking from the other side that this could potentially work? Like, because like I didn't go to law school and I'm certainly not very good with money. But even I was like, this is insane. Like what in the
they
people who came up with the system
want, there's a group of people, there's two groups of people in college sports. There are people who live in reality. We talked to one of those yesterday, Jerry Mack, the head coach at Kennesaw State. We said, Jerry, Kansas State took your best edge rusher, Syracuse took your all-conference quarterback. What do you think of that? He goes, I love it because it means we set them up for opportunities. And we're going to do that again with the next group of players we have. Jerry Mack understands he can't change the circumstances. He can't change the system. All he can do is do the best to work within it.
Yep.
To make it work. There's another group of people, and it's I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but it is people who've been working in college sports for a lot longer, typically, who want so badly to go back to the way things used to be when they had all the power and the players didn't have any power. They just keep grasping at straws. Like they keep banging their head against the same concrete wall, thinking the result's going to be different. The result will not be different. And you can keep fighting this all you want, but unless you get Congress to pass a law, which you will not get Congress to pass a law that allows you to impose a salary cap just unilaterally, like they're not going to do that, or you negotiate it with the players, you will not be able to have a salary cap.
It's just almost like a refusal to acknowledge that it's different now.
Or a refusal to acknowledge the thing you can have a salary cap if you want to, but you have to choose to want to. There's only one way to do it. Well, two ways to do it. The two I just mentioned. And one's probably not happening. So you can either accept reality on reality's terms or keep living in fantasy land and act surprised when this happens. Like, again, this is a very coordinated effort. Like, it's not an accident that it's at one of the biggest schools. It's at a Big Ten school. It's a big time law firm that a lot of these schools hire for various things. It's in a state where the attorney general will respond.
Do we know what deals in question here?
We don't.
Okay.
We know it. Well, it's multiple deals, and it might be 18 versions of the same deal. I'm not sure. But so that's why
they're probably on paper getting an insane amount of money for something that's not deemed appropriate market value.
Probably. But guess what?
It is market value.
Who are you to tell me what I can pay somebody? That's the other thing, is the company providing the money, if they wanted to sue, can also sue.
Yeah.
You're messing with my relationship with my endorser. I've agreed to pay this money, and you can't tell me what I can and can't pay them.
And this is my business, and you can't impede in my ability to run my own business the way I see fit.
Yeah. There were so many holes and flaws in this plan, and I think the commissioners and the people at the schools thought, okay, because the schools and the players are party to this and they have to agree to the terms of it, that's going to provide us some protection, but it doesn't protect you from everybody else.
Totally insane. But I would be amused if the clearinghouse just automatically, every time it heads to arbitration, just clears the deal. It's like, this is fine. Because then it's just like a bunch of people doing something that served no purpose. Let me tell you a story, Andy. Yesterday, I got an Uber.
Please tell this story. Yes, please. This actually is germane to the subject. Yes, please tell this story.
I ordered a bagel with a bagel sandwich yesterday from a restaurant here in Dallas on Uber Eats.
We'll argue with the laziness factor of having a human being drive that to your house later, but go ahead.
Sometimes it's not laziness, Andy. Sometimes it's necessity. Like, I don't have time to go do this. Someone
go
can
ahead.
Do it. But
tell us the story.
Anyway, this restaurant is about 12 minutes from my house, and it was 9 a.m. Andy and I were going to record at 10 a.m. So I thought, if I place this order at 9 a.m.,
No. It was 10 a.m. We were recording at 11 a.m. You were going to have breakfast at 10:30.
Oh.
Another conversation. Go on.
Which isn't a weird. You're making that weirder than it is. I wanted to eat a bagel at 10:45 in the morning before we got the day started.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep messing you up.
Anyway, so 30 minutes or 25 minutes go by, and I check the order, and it said your dasher is picking up. It was Uber Eats, whatever they call it. Your driver is picking up your food. And then I was like, okay, great. So this should be here by 10:45. That'll give me 15 or 10 minutes to eat this, and then I can get upstairs, get into the studio, and start the show. And then once the person got my food, they texted me, "Where are you?" And I wrote back, "Excuse me." And then he wrote back, "I'm here with your food." And I'm like, "You're at the restaurant." And he goes, "Yeah, this is where I'm supposed to deliver it." And I wrote back, "If I was at the restaurant that you picked up my food at, explain to me what you believe your role in this whole situation should be." This human being thought I paid him to go pick up my food at the restaurant and then deliver it to me at the restaurant.
All right, Wasserman, my white ass.
I'm guessing, in defense of the driver here, they probably just read the wrong address line.
Yeah, I mean, or hopefully there was an app issue. I don't know. But that's what the clearinghouse is.
But we do have some cognitive questions here. But yes, that is exactly what that clearinghouse will be if they just put every deal through.
Have you seen those videos of the guy on the subway platform when the subway stops, who like pushes hands on the side of he puts his hands on the side of the train as it's stopping, as if he's helping it stop? Like, that's what this is. Like, are these the people who are in the arbitration meetings in the clearinghouse side receiving paychecks?
Yes. It's a small staff, but they are getting paid. They have an investigative unit.
How much?
That's gonna reveal some robust.
Yeah. God.
Investigations.
I know, like,
they should just call them the pocket watchers. Like, they should make t-shirts.
There are some people out there, Andy, that are really struggling. And then I sometimes think about corporate spending or things like this, and it's like, God, how much money are they earning?
You have a job that does not need to exist.
It's like an interior decoration.
Now, look,
it looks nice.
Our job doesn't need to exist either. We talk about college football for a living. It doesn't need to exist.
We provide a service that people want, period. It might be stupid.
Well, they're providing a service that the schools want. It's just the service is probably illegal. So.
Yeah, and also the service is just like buying artwork for your house. It doesn't really do anything, but it makes you feel nice.
Well, we'll see what happens with this thing. And we know what's going to happen, but we'll see what happens.
the players are going to get their money one way or the other. So you can pay more money in court, or you can pay these arbitrators to
whether it's the arbitrator or whether it's a federal judge after the Nebraska Attorney General sues you in federal court, someone is going to say,
run
pay
him
that man his money.
Run him that money. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully the briefcase that Utah Valley was using can be used for this too. I'm done with wire transfers, Ari. From now on, briefcase, everything.
Wire transfers are inherently scary, by the way.
Oh, I always feel like I am in some sort of mob movie when I have to do a wire transfer.
I mean, the only time I've ever had to make a wire transfer in my life was when we bought homes.
Yeah.
But there is so much fraud in the wire game. Like, it is terrifying because it's the most money
I watch too many movies, and when you're buying a house, it is essentially an amount that is worth more than you.
It is.
Going from one place to another.
The largest possible check a person like me could ever write.
Yeah.
And you get 9 emails from the bank before you write that check saying, hey, be really careful because if you send this to the wrong person, you're never getting it back. It is terrifying. So yeah, bring back the duffel bag. No, sorry, briefcase. It's classier.
Briefcase. We had duffel bags for the bagman era.
And they're
duffel bag is for, listen, the dollar figures have ascended tremendously here. We are in the briefcase zone now. We are out of the duffel bag era. We are in the briefcase era.
Briefcase boys. Yeah, those are the people who really bring the NIL. And
we need the metal briefcase like they use in the WWE.
Or it's a briefcase that pops open and there's just a check laying in there because the briefcase can't hold the money. It's not big enough.
That's fancy. Yeah. A cashier's check.
I do miss that sound of like the metal
thump.
Unclicking out of the briefcase. And then you open it up and then there's like a light for some reason. I don't know. Those were the days.
That's just Pulp Fiction. That's
I'd only be the first to congratulate Nebraska's players for getting this money. Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to get paid.
You get paid.
Or you're going to be party to a lawsuit that gets you paid.
Pay that man his money.
There, thank you. Thank you. Speaking of pay that man his money, let us move to Letterman Row, the Letterman Lounge. Our guy Spencer Holbrook at Letterman Row does a great job covering Ohio State. Wrote on Tuesday that Ohio State has made Matt Patricia the highest paid coordinator and thus highest paid assistant coach in college football. He will make $3.75 million this year.
You know the silence? You know what I was doing?
No.
Should have done this before the show. Do you know what Jim Tressel's salary was as head coach at Ohio State in 2010?
It wasn't that.
It wasn't. $3.5 million a year when he resigned.
But again, they're broken. They have no money for the players. Oh, wait. No, they have plenty of money. But this is an interesting one because Matt Patricia, first year in college football, obviously was a very good defensive coordinator with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Got the Lions head coaching job, was not good as the Lions head coach. First year in college, they were absolutely dominant at Ohio State. And I'm sure there was a lot of interest on the NFL side and the college side for him.
Two things. One, do you know what Jim Tressel's salary was in 2001 when he took over?
1.5?
$645,000.
Wonder what his Youngstown State salary was before he left to go to Ohio State.
He made $645,000 in the year that he led Ohio State to the national championship in 2002.
That is amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Right. And the thing is, that was actually probably low for a big school at the time, but not ridiculously low. That's how fast this stuff has exploded. So we have head coaches making close to $14 million a year now. Assistant coaches making close to $4 million a year now.
Here's another stat. And I'm using Tressel because that was the era, and this is
and it's the same school.
Jim Tressel's total career earnings at Ohio State for his decade as their coach. Do you want to take a stab at it? You could probably come close if you know, like.
Let's see. Okay, is it 20 million?
21.7 million, which means that he was averaging about 2.1 a year.
Wow.
Over the
running
10-year period.
One of the biggest, most important organizations in college football.
And now you have coaches that are making 65, 66% of that in a given year.
Yeah. I mean, $2 million a year, that's probably what a good coach in the American makes. And there are coaches in the American that make more than that now.
So obviously, that's not just an Ohio State thing. That's everywhere, right? Because Ohio State for many years was behind the curve. Like they weren't making payments to assistants. And I remember one of the biggest things when I was on the beat was, when are they going to improve their assistant salary pool to compete with the SEC, because they weren't compensating their coaches as much, and it was harder to retain or hire elite level assistants. And I just remember when I was at I believe it was the 2016, or it might have been the 2018 Fiesta Bowl. I think it was 16, and Ohio State was playing Clemson. Brent Venables was the defensive coordinator for Clemson, and he was making $1 million a year at the time.
Yeah,
which was a heck of a lot of money at the time, 10 years ago.
Still a heck of a lot of money. $1 million will always be a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah. But people were like, oh my goodness, how is this coordinator worth that much money? And then I remember I was writing a story with Doug and Bill about like the first $1 million coordinator at Ohio State. And now you're talking about this much money. And the question I have for you, Andy, and this isn't a slight at Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia could be the greatest defensive coordinator in college football history. Is there a coordinator that is worth that much money?
I mean, what did we just get through saying about the Nebraska thing? You're worth whatever somebody's willing to pay you.
Do you think it's crazy to pay any assistant anywhere that much money a year?
Could they have found someone to coach these very good players at Ohio State into really a good defense
for half that?
Probably, yes.
So, listen, the man earned his money. Their defense was incredibly good last year. Okay. Yeah. Their defense also, I believe, is going to have 4 first-round picks departing from it. So, and this is the thing that isn't a Matt Patricia conversation. This is something that I've always struggled with when evaluating coaches on Ohio State's staff for the beginning of time and the entirety of my 10 years on the beat, is how much of it is coaching brilliance or scheme brilliance or, developmental brilliance, and how much is it having aliens on your team that other teams don't have? I do not know. If you have Caleb Downs on your team, if you have Sonny Styles on your team, you have Arvell Reese on your team, and you've got really good defensive linemen. How is it rocket science to be really good at defense? I don't get it.
Funny that you mentioned, because Matt Patricia is an actual rocket scientist.
Yeah.
He went to Rensselaer Polytechnic. He's very smart.
I really just want to separate my question from a criticism of him personally, because it's not. Obviously.
This conversation happened long before Matt Patricia was the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. It's happened multiple times with Ohio State coaches, with Alabama coaches, with Georgia coaches. How hard is it to coach someone who is just so much more gifted than everybody else? And I would argue that figuring out how to deploy them is important too. Sonny Styles was not deployed probably in the way that he was best deployed until last year. So I would argue that Matt Patricia unlocked Sonny Styles and probably unlocked Arvell Reese. Caleb Downs was unlocked. Caleb Downs was unlocked in elementary school. If you ever heard that guy talk, he sounds like a 15-year NFL vet already.
Do you know how much money Brian Hartline is making as the head coach at USF?
Probably not as much as Matt Patricia.
The same, $3.5 million a year.
Oh, 3.5. Okay, so that's the best American job probably right now, and that pays 3.5.
And
which is also what the reason this is happening, by the way. With the Brent Venables part, you mentioned Brent Venables was the first $1 million coordinator. Brent Venables also, I believe, was the first $2 million coordinator. I think he was 2.5 before he finally got hired by Oklahoma as the head coach.
Yeah.
That was to keep him from going to take a head coaching job. That was to keep him to where the only reason he would leave was for a huge head coaching job.
Yeah, and part of that too is, it makes sense. You're paying a retainer of sorts to somebody. And from my understanding too, Andy, you were probably closer to Clemson during those years, but he was a major piece of their staff.
Oh, huge.
He wasn't just coordinating the defense. He was identifying players. He was a huge balancing beam for the program as well. Yes. So I understand that there are people who do more than their title, or people who are symbolically worth more than what their title would say. But you're talking about a person like Brian Hartline, for instance, who, recruited his position and developed his position as well as anybody in the country. And then he got promoted to a place to be a head coach. And it wasn't a power coach, but it's still a really attractive job. And he's getting paid roughly the same as your defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Which is, it's not an accident. You're paying your defensive coordinator. Well, and in Patricia's case, I'm sure there was NFL interest as well. So I would imagine if we look at some of the better, because Chip Kelly was the highest paid coordinator in the NFL last year, I believe, or offensive coordinator in the NFL. I think it was $6 million a year. I would imagine 375 is probably what a good, above average NFL defensive coordinator makes. So you probably had to do that to keep him.
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it this way, Andy. I think Ryan Day is making $11 million. I think that's just off the top of my head, and it might be changing. Obviously, with Lane Kiffin getting what he got, I'm assuming that that tide will lift.
Oh yeah, boat. That's why Signetti got moved to where he did. You'll see Kirby getting moved.
Let's just work with the 11 million figure for the time being. It's very hard to keep track of incentives and all these things of how much somebody's actually making in totality. But should a coordinator make roughly 40 or 35% salary as the head coach at a place like Ohio State? That's the other thing too, proportionately. It's not just the amount of money, but how many other coordinators are making that much in relation to their head coach, who is viewed as one of the top 5 coaches in America at a high-powered institution that is one of the tentpole programs of college football.
Yeah. It's not going down. Somebody, I don't know if anybody's going to top this next year, but somebody probably will. These guys want to win. They all want to win. They're all very competitive. It's the same reason with the player salaries. They can't really help themselves. They want to win, and they want to have the best chance of winning. They feel like if they have a coach who coordinated a defense that was the stingiest defense in the country, then they're going to pay to keep him, whatever they need to pay.
And honestly speaking, too, if he got paid 2.2 or 2.1 or whatever, which we would say is, within the range of what most people in that job get paid, this wouldn't even be a conversation on the show. And how much money over the course of a 12-month period for the defensive coordinator is $1.5 million for Ohio State. It's a drop.
And I don't think we didn't really do a lot of hand wringing over Jim Knowles when he left Ohio State for Penn State, because he got over $3 million when he went to Penn State.
Yeah.
So
maybe this is just
that was the cost of one. He had other options too, but that was the cost to pry him away.
Yeah. So it's not insane. I just think it's interesting how quickly inflation.
Oh yeah,
is changing. Because honestly, 2016 seems at times like it was forever ago, but it really isn't that long ago.
No, and that's it kills their arguments against giving more to the players, because they say they can't afford to do that, but then nothing stops them when they want to hire or give a coach more money.
Well, the other thing too, in Matt Patricia's defense, there are players individually who are making that much money. So,
and I don't think Matt Patricia needs to be defended here.
Yeah,
this is. We just talked about with the Nebraska players. You're worth whatever someone wants to pay you. Matt Patricia's the same thing. He is worth whatever Ohio State wants to pay him.
This is a celebrate your bag podcast, by the way. We're not bag.
Yeah.
We want you to
give us a bag, give them the bag, give everybody gets a bag.
Yeah.
So now, if Matt Patricia produces a similar defense, probably with less first rounders, it's worth every penny.
Yep. I agree with you. But I wonder what that salary also means for Ryan Day's impending raise.
Probably pretty big.
Probably bodes pretty well for his income.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a good place to be right now. Good place to be if you are a very successful head coach. The problem is you have to stay that successful, or then they decide to fire you.
Yeah,
and like Ryan Day's obviously not in any danger, but this time last year we didn't think James Franklin was in any danger, and then life comes at you fast. So congratulations, Matt Patricia, and I'm excited to see what you do in a second year of college football, because you will now have a different group of players. It may not be as talent laden, but if you can produce a defense that's almost as good or as good, you're doing great. And you're probably going to get a college head coaching job if you want it, or maybe back into the NFL, maybe another NFL head coaching job. It's not outside the realm of possibility. So excited to see what he does with that. One more, and we go to the Wolverine, Ari, our Michigan team cited on 3. The Fort is the message board. And so the attorney for Sherrone Moore's former assistant, this is the woman he had the relationship with, the attorney called out systemic failures at Michigan, essentially, relating to what happened with Sherrone Moore. Not necessarily what happened with Sherrone Moore after he was fired. This is all what happened during the process of that relationship, how that got revealed to the Michigan people, what they knew or didn't know at the time. And so this was a statement from her attorneys, Chicago-based attorneys, Andrew Stroth and Stephen Hart, and said, our client believes strongly that she may not be the only person who experienced inappropriate, coercive, or predatory behavior from this individual, talking about Sherrone Moore. And again, this is a prelude to a lawsuit against Michigan, because Michigan is the deeper pockets in this case. Sherrone Moore got fired for cause, so probably he's not the target of a lawsuit. Maybe he is, but absolutely,
and a generally
Michigan
fair question.
It is. And I think if you're a Michigan person, and I've noticed, we've talked about this before, Michigan fans have been asking a lot of hard questions, and it's not just Michigan fans, it's also Michigan leaders asking a lot of hard questions. What did Ward Manuel and the athletic department know, and when did they know it? Because the official story is they didn't have actionable intelligence until the day before they fired him. That they had interviewed him, they'd interviewed her, and the stories had been different, and then the story changed, and then they fired him. Now, it's interesting because I had somebody who was involved in some of the NCAA investigations point this out to me. Chris Partridge, who is a former Michigan assistant, had gotten caught up in an NCAA investigation and actually wound up, I believe, getting cleared.
He was cleared.
He was cleared in the investigation. One of the things that cleared him was video from the complex, from the football complex, that cleared him, that showed, him not doing the thing he was accused of, or doing something that proved he wasn't doing what he was accused of. And this person said, if this relationship was going on for as long as we now know it was, there
has to have been some incriminating video of some sort.
How do they not instantly find it? Because they found the Partridge one in I think a few days. Yeah. So
yeah. And listen,
there's a lot to ask.
We weren't in the building, okay? And there are 2 ways of looking at this. Obviously, some people will say, young female working in an athletic building, creating or being involved in a inappropriate relationship with the coach is a two-way street, and that person was probably gold digging or all the things that you could come up with. And the other side of it too, Andy,
it is a two-way street. That is true. Yeah.
But if you are a young, not famous female staffer in a building, and the most powerful man in Michigan is constantly putting himself or presenting himself to you in this fashion, there are other deeper implications to your behavior, your job, your livelihood, embarrassment, all these different things that might coerce you to make decisions you wouldn't make in other situations. And we have to also acknowledge that.
And that's why they have rules at organizations about supervisors and the people they supervise, and not having relationships.
It's not just football organizations; it's regular jobs.
It's everywhere.
If you're a boss at Deloitte, you can't have sex with an intern. That's just part of it. That said, the most interesting thing to me from that last sentence that you read was she might not have been the only victim. So that also opens Pandora's box, and we don't know who that other person is.
And that's potentially that's lawyers threatening, hey, this might be a class action suit, which is meant to rattle Michigan's cage quite a bit.
And we don't want to start looking around anymore. So let's just deal with this quickly.
Yeah. How about you make your best offer before we start
making it more
compelling discovery. We file a lawsuit and start compelling discovery. Now, and I think that's, if you're Michigan, you probably need to figure out what the hell actually happened.
Yeah.
Not just because somebody might sue you, but because you need to know if the people in charge know what they're doing, or did they know about this and just kind of sweep it aside? What exactly happened? And I think that the people in charge at Michigan probably are going to want those answers sooner rather than later. And they said after the Sherrone Moore firing that they were going to engage in a fact-finding mission to figure out exactly what happened, who knew what when. I do think there's a lot of people in Michigan who want those answers.
Andy, you're on the internet. You've seen the screenshots floating around recently. So, this doesn't look like the behavior of a coach who was interested in one individual.
Yeah.
So,
and if that's the case, especially if it was somebody else who worked there, and we don't know. So but we're
not speculating. We're just reading what the statement said. But
yeah. So I'm very interested to see what comes of this. I think you're right. I think you nailed it. This is them saying, unless you want us to dump your dirty laundry on the front lawn, Michigan,
of the big house. Yeah.
Yeah. Now's the time to write a check. But I think if you're Michigan, one, you're probably still going to have to write a check anyway. But two, you probably need to know this because you need to know if the people you have in charge are the people who need to be in charge.
Right. It's complicated and it's murky.
It's going to get messier there.
Yeah, it is messy.
Yeah. It's going to get messier there. And again, we talked about this the other day with the Kyle Whittingham hire. This is another reason why I think the Kyle Whittingham hire was so good, because this is a guy who he's all about knows anybody.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to have to worry about that stuff.
You don't know anybody, but what you do know is you have a long-standing resume that exists without any rumors or situations of misconduct.
Yeah.
So
none of this stuff. Yeah. And so you might be in a situation now where you can be comfortable knowing that what's going on over there is not something you
Andy
need to be
just from a PR standpoint. Michigan needs
scared
to
of every day.
Off. They're in the news for the wrong reasons, every year,
over and over and over again. Yeah.
So I think that they're probably at a place too where it's okay, we got the national title and that was kind of a bumpy ride to get to it, but maybe now we can just run a tight organization without having, especially now, Andy, it's so much harder to get into actual trouble than it used to be. If you got somebody a hamburger in 2001 or rigged a lottery or something, I don't know, think about the baseline of what it used to take to get into real trouble. It wasn't that hard.
No.
Everybody was getting in trouble for all the stupid things all the time. Now players are getting paid. Your coaches are being compensated. Just don't be weird in the building. You know what I mean? It's not that difficult.
Don't be weird anywhere, but especially don't be weird in the building. Yeah.
Don't hire people that are going to be weird in the building. So it's just,
And when you know what's going on, when you know something's going on,
be active about it.
Yeah, act on it. Don't just say, well, maybe. Because I think this is the question. I'm not making any accusations right now because we don't know what happened yet. I think we're going to get answers on this eventually. But if somebody in charge knew what was going on and was just like, well, but he might win a lot of games, that's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to go well for that person.
Nope. So we'll be tracking it. I mean, Sherrone's in court right now, and I'm sure that there will be more information. But if you're a Michigan fan, obviously you're dying for the Whittingham era to begin, and that to be the main thing.
Please, enough with all this bad off the field news. Just do something on the field.
Do something on the field. Yep.
Yeah, I get it. I would be sick of this too if I were them. But this is one where just reading, especially reading the fans that belong to our team site, and then talking to some people I know who are fans or who are involved in the University of Michigan, they're fed up with it too.
And they're probably tired of having to defend themselves online.
Yeah, they want some answers, and then they want to move on. So there will probably be some answers because of this, either because they're going to have to do something about it because they want to, or these guys are going to sue them and some stuff's going to come out.
Yeah.
And that has been your courthouse update. Ari, how many times did we mention court today?
Quite a bit, but my favorite reference of court was the light up court in the Big 12.
Playing on a giant iPad. More games today. More games down. Check your BetMGM app. There's some hot ones. And I mean, AJ DeBonsa 40 points on the iPad court. So he's probably hoping whatever NBA team picks him switches to an iPad court.
My prediction is that every basketball court in America will be an iPad court eventually.
Cincinnati UCF. That's a little bit of a bubblicious game going on today, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Cincinnati is a 2.5 point favorite on BetMGM right now. This is going to be a fun day. So you've got Big 12 tournament action, ACC tournament action, SEC tournament. You've got finals, like the Big Sky finals, the big one, because you had an upset in the Big Sky last night. It's one of the best weeks of the year. Enjoy your weekday during the day basketball, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.